My name is Akim. I'm from France and I live in Berlin now.
And you also used to live in Canada, but you lived in the English-speaking part of Canada. So you're French, but you're in Canada. Yeah.
Also Canadian, yeah.
Also Canadian, yeah. Cool. And so you're working for TGEU at the moment.
Yeah.
And you're doing a 6-month internship.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's basically like work on this like council that we're having. It's every 2 years, and it's council for like to bring up trans issues, and there's like workshops and trans activists coming from like all over Europe mostly, and then some of the people from the rest of the world.
Awesome. And that's going to be in a couple days, so
yeah.
I'm surprised you guys aren't more stressed than you are actually. But
I guess it's Berlin.
Yeah.
Everyone is really chill.
Yeah, totally chill. I know life's like a real zigzag, but like when you look back on your childhood, like was it kind of obvious, or like, you know, that you had that things were different for you, or?
Yeah, I think it was obvious. I think like gender is something you can really learn when you're just like a baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think like very small, you understand, like you don't really know how to put words on it, but you understand that gender is very strong.
Yeah.
And it comes like much like earlier than your like sexual orientation or whatever. So it's like a very like different question, and yeah, I think like very small, like I could see that I didn't feel comfortable with the gender I was assigned at birth.
And were you aware of like stuff that you could do to help yourself, or was it kind of a mystery for a long time? Like, were you kind of like on your own with it, or did you manage to find help?
I think I had like a very supporting mom. Like, even though like we didn't put words on it, like she just always let me wear whatever clothes, do whatever sports do.
That's cool.
And yeah, she really raised like my brother and me like the same, even though we were like perceived as different genders.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, you feel pretty isolated.
Yeah.
In the norm.
And how is it living in Berlin now, where, I mean, to me it seems like there's a very strong kind of queer scene, and, you know, nobody really bats an eyelid about anything or anyone.
Yeah.
Like, is that refreshing?
It is, and I think like I've heard it before coming here, but I didn't. Like when you live it, it's so different. Like it's like paradise.
Yeah.
Queer paradise.
Yeah, it is queer paradise. It's very refreshing, isn't it? Yeah.
And almost like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I didn't see it from my eyes, I wouldn't believe it, because like especially I think in France, it's still very. You point out what's different.
Right.
Whether like it's, you know, just your skin color, your sexual orientation, just the way you dress.
Anyone or anything different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very strong in France. So here, to be in Berlin, I feel just like it's like really peaceful.
Yeah, definitely. I started my medical transition 5 years ago, and at that point I was super depressed. I was like, you know,
When you started, or
yeah,
before?
well, just before, I guess. Like I had like I hit rock bottom. I had like a really girly phase. Well, not phase, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and do this being a girl thing, even though I'd been androgynous up until that point. And that was like my last attempt to try and like fit in, and that didn't work. And I was like, okay, look, I'm gonna have to just, I think I might be trans, and I think I'm gonna just try, because you just don't know how the testosterone is gonna affect you either, you know, whether it's gonna fix things. And I thought, I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, like hoping that this one thing is gonna actually make a difference, but it actually did. Like, yeah, I felt like it really changed my life. So taking that plunge was like the best thing I could have done for myself, but it wasn't an easy path as well, because like I was thinking about it for so long, and then like being in the system just took like ages. It took like forever. I pretty much went private for everything, even though I didn't really have the money, but I like went to a private doctor to get my prescription, and then my local GP honored the prescription, so I could get my hormones like for free now, but only because I kind of organized it myself. Anyway, this is really boring because it's like English policy stuff, but
I think what's really like strong about what you say is about just like how you struggled, because of course like before transitioning on like hormones, you kind of like don't know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, that's
But
right. It's a mystery.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna lose or what you think you're gonna lose, but
Yeah.
it's like you don't know what's on the other side.
That's right.
It's like really scary. But yeah, I think it's like really important that you say that you feel like much better now, and
yeah, comparatively, I feel like finally I fit in the world,
yeah,
and like it's so hard to try and explain dysphoria or being trans to cis people sometimes. Like, it's such a core thing, isn't it, gender? And like, if the world doesn't treat you the way you feel, like, you're gonna feel really weird, and like I felt really weird. So yeah, but it's just so nice that, like, because before I came out to Berlin, I spent a bit of time with Stephen Whittle, who's like he's like an older trans man. He's British, but he's done a lot of work for like policy changes like all over, and he kind of came out as a teenager, and I'm so impressed with like people who can actually do that, who did that like back in the 60s, 70s, that kind of thing. Like, wow,
Yeah.
because like it only took, like, I had to see other people. I had to see that it was possible for me to actually even visualize, a future for myself. So yeah, I'm really grateful. Like, what was your inspiration? Like, who inspired you, like, to kind of like go on the path? What was it that you kind of?
Yeah, it was 20-year-old trans guy I saw in a documentary. And before that, like 1 year before, I met a trans woman. I was doing an internship in her like communication agency, and so she came out to me like right away and then said, I would really be open to talk about it if you have any questions. I was just like, okay, like, it's a topic that I don't know.
Yeah.
And then so like we talked a lot about it, but itself.
Right.
Although I was like, everything she says makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of like get it, but I was really far from like understanding what was going on.
Right.
And then yeah, a year after, I saw a trans guy who was like almost my age, yeah. And I was just so absorbed in the thing that I was watching. And it's really bad because like when I was watching the documentary, I think I was so ashamed to just watch it.
Oh wow.
Because I had like so much transphobia internalized.
Yeah, completely. I felt so much shame about vocalizing, oh, I think I might be trans. Like, that was such a hard thing to say. Whereas now, I don't feel like that at all, obviously,
Yeah.
It's like my life, but yeah.
And I think it changes so much when you can educate yourself.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah.
So I think it changes so much if you can educate yourself on what being trans is, and then learn how to take the transphobia out of your system.
Yeah, big time.
It's like a life-saving thing.
But where does that come from? It must come from the fact that, I don't know, we live in a cis world, and there's just no, you have to kind of dig deep in order to find any sort of like subculture or anything that's different to the mainstream. Yeah. But I mean, thank God, like, YouTube exists, and like people vlog, and like, documentaries and things. I can't remember. Yeah.
I think just like seeing, that it's possible.
Yeah. That's what helped me.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even have an opinion on like trans people because I didn't even know about it.
Right. Yeah.
And then so of course, like, you can't think, there's something wrong with the gender I was assigned at birth, because like no one tells you that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a real conundrum. It's really bizarre. But now we were talking about this as well, about like, I don't know, life being a zigzag and stuff, and like, being able to look back on time and how there's clues and things are really obvious, and actually things seem quite linear when you look back, but yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I thought of that like recently, that when I came out, it was already like 4 years ago.
Right.
And I feel like it was yesterday.
Right, yeah.
And then like this whole like time where I came out, and then I had to kind of like look into what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And it was so like emotionally tiring.
Right.
And I felt like I would never get out of this period, because it was just, so much energy put in it, and then my brain was just going crazy.
Yeah.
And then
you're so right. It's like, it's second puberty, so there's a lot going on as well. Like, you're kind of being flooded with hormones. I feel like I'm kind of getting out of my second puberty now. Like, the first few years are like a total upheaval, aren't they? They're totally, there's a lot to adjust to. I felt like I felt like I did get a little bit like hormonally. Whoa, hello.
Still hungry?
Wow, what is it?
Like a little worm from the tree.
Worm from the tree. Very nice. I'm full after our dinner. The burger was enough. Yeah, so what was I talking about? I don't know. Yeah, just talking about being a teenager again and like all the stuff that goes with that. And like I did feel, did you feel like kind of like anxious in the way teenagers do, or like did you feel like embarrassed with things? And like I don't know, I feel like I experienced all that kind of stuff again. It was just weird.
No, for me, like, it was really different. Like the physical changes were not at all an issue. Like not even an issue, or like it wasn't like even something I was like caring much about.
Right.
But like just being seen as a different gender in society.
Yeah.
That
in society, the changes. Yeah.
That it really like blew my mind.
Yeah, that is
And,
mind blowing. Yeah.
I think for the first year, when I started being perceived as male, I was just like, oh my god,
like
oh
totally
my god.
happy. Yeah.
No, like not even happy, but
Oh.
it's just like, you know, the people like the way people talk to you.
Yeah.
The way you're seen in the streets, the way like no more harassment.
Yeah, and
just
it's
like so many things. You're just like, oh my god, that was my life before, and it was like so normal that I didn't realize it.
That's it. That's it. I think that is the most delightful thing, actually, when the world starts to see you for who you are and they just start treating you. But it's like all about the small things. It's all about going and buying some water at the shop and then being like, you know, here's your change, man. You know, whatever. I don't know.
How'd you deal with, or do you even feel like you have male privilege? And like, how'd you deal with that?
Male privilege. That's a funny one. I mean, you know, it's weird because one of my biggest like I'm really sad because I don't fit into all female spaces anymore, and like I used to really like all female spaces, and I think it took me so long to transition because I had like issues with men, and like I thought like loads of men were like warmongering pigs and stuff, and like so I had to yeah, and I really had to decide that I was gonna be, you know, that I could be like a sensitive man. I didn't need to be that kind of man, and that, you know, there was space for me, you know. I think also it's an energy as well, and like I feel like I inhabit like masculine and feminine energy, and like there's like a nice balance there now that feels comfortable. But yeah, I don't know about male privilege, because I feel like I spent so long a huge part of my life like feeling very apologetic and feeling very shy and not wanting to engage with the world, and now I don't know if it's like a combination. Like maybe people, even though I don't have anything more interesting to say, maybe people do listen to me more because I've got like a lower voice or whatever, but I can't honestly say whether that's because I'm more confident or because, you know, I've got male privilege. And you know, it's good to be aware of stuff like that. How do you feel?
Well, I feel like yeah, male privilege is really strong, but it's still something like I don't really know how to deal with it because I wasn't socialized with it. So I kind of like everything that I get for just being male, I see it. Yeah, just like how people talk to you. I feel like people take you more seriously, even though like you're the exact same person. But so I still feel like sometimes it's weird, and so yeah, I'm like.
It's really interesting, isn't it, the perspectives that we've had. Like, I know what it's like to be treated, you know, as female, or to feel like I'm being, like, looked at in a certain way that I don't feel comfortable with. And, you know, I think that's a really important, like empathy is a really important thing. And, like, I feel empathetic to a whole batch of people now because of it. Like, even, like, menopausal women and stuff, because, like, transitioning and, like, you know, hot flushes and stuff like that happened, like... Yeah.
I think just being part of like such a small minority with like a very few rights, it makes you have empathy for
a vast amount.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because lately I realized, you know, how come there's like so many queer people that are vegan?
Right. Yeah. What do you think that's all about?
I think it's because your empathy like
is
greater, and so then, you know, with empathy, then you kind of see like what's going on to like animals, and then you kind of like feel it because you feel you know, if we were like treating humans like shit like that, well, maybe trans people would be the first to be, or
that's
or, like,
really interesting. I think that's probably very true. And it always confused me actually why certain I don't know, certain groups of people that have a difficult time can also like, I don't know, be nasty to other groups that are having a difficult time. You know, just like within the LGBT community as well, and like somehow sometimes there's misunderstandings or there's prejudice within that, and yeah, that baffles me a lot because yeah, how can someone not see what they're doing to someone else when, you know, yeah, bizarre.
But I think it's because when you have less rights, or like you're being mocked or harassed in the street, then you build up, you know, something inside you that's like violence.
Oh, like an internalized, like an anger or something,
Yeah.
or like
And I think
like you want to shit on someone because you've been shat on yourself.
yeah, so
It's
like
a weird
it's like
mentality.
yeah, but I think that's like the way it works, and I think it's like hard. It's harder to find peace in yourself when you know you get like so much shit from others.
Yeah, yeah.
As where like, you know, if everyone is nice to you, like nobody looks at you in the street, then of course it's easier to be like, you know, a bit more peaceful when you walk
Right.
down the streets.
Yeah, sure.
But
Yeah.
if like, for example, you know, you walk down the streets and then people are like, I don't know, like saying nasty things to you, I think, you know, you're not gonna be happy walking down the streets and then be able to like give love or give, I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's different, because also like the people that are really on like the lowest scale of privilege,
Yeah.
they usually don't shit on other people.
Yeah.
But it's the people who are like not
Far
on
off.
top but like a bit under.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, definitely. Changing the subject, if you could like rewind, or if you could have been born like a cis guy, would you like that to have happened? Or
no.
I feel the same as you about that, and I feel like it's not like I don't feel like I was born into the wrong body. I feel like I was born into the right body to learn what I needed to learn and to progress in this life, because I think that it's about advancement, you know, and
Yeah.
maybe it'd be too boring otherwise, or I don't know. Maybe if I was born a cis guy, maybe I'd want to transition. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like, you know, in life, like if you change like a tiny thing, it changes so much in your life.
Like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
And I feel like right now in my life, with everything that happened to me, I'm just like very happy, and I feel very at peace with myself and at peace with the world, and yeah, I'm very happy with the life that I have. And so I feel like, you know, if I changed a tiny thing, maybe I wouldn't be happy anymore.
Yeah.
And so I would never trade that for anything, because now I just feel like, yeah, so happy and so like authentic to myself, and I feel like, yeah, it's easier to have empathy. I feel like a lot happier in the life that I have. So
That's really cool, because it's given you depth as well. Like, you know, yeah.
So I wouldn't change anything.
That's cool. I think it's probably a good place to end, actually.
Yeah, it is.
I wouldn't change anything. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching this, and
Bye.
bye.